Hello? Hello? One, two. 1, 2. Amy! Amy! Bye-bye!
Bye-bye!
Scientists who've investigated an elephant's reported talking skills say there's clear evidence he can speak Korean. Koshik, who grew up with only humans for company, knows 5 words. When filmed at the zoo near Seoul, he managed one, shoa, which means good.
Want to say hello? Hello. Very excited. How about introducing yourself? Tell them your name. Amigo. His name is Amigo. Amigo, how else can you greet all these nice people? How are you? How are you? That was a very polite greeting. I'm fine, Amigo. Now, right now, he's going to impress all of us by counting from 1 to 10. Listen up, okay? First, he will do it in English. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that was a perfect 10. Well done, amigo. Well, okay, if it's your birthday today, the next song goes out to you, okay? More than 7 or 8 in the crowd are celebrating your birthday today, amigo. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday from amigo to you.
And on key even. Wow. Orca whales, Koshik the elephant, Rocky the ape, Knock the beluga whale, a parrot singing happy birthday. Even giraffes are found to have a larynx or voice box. Monkeys certainly do, as well as vocal cords, and many animals really. How is it that these animals appear to be able to at least mimic the human voice? Indeed, generally their brains are not capable today of full speech patterns. Let's be clear. Though there have been parrots especially, whom have established hundreds of words in vocabulary. Again, mimicking. Today, we do not converse with the animals like Dr. Dolittle, who inspired this video. Yet, there appear to be remnants of speech in some species. Could this be a residual trait? Could animals once have spoken? Were their brains more developed? And they have in fact de-evolved just as man and all species really. There's a massive amount of evidence of that, but not one shred that ever says we nor any animal is evolving or ever has evolved beyond that of slight adaptation, which is not the result of gaining information, but the result of losing information, even though the trait helps the survival of that particular species. This is de-evolution, actually. The question is, did Adam and Eve have conversations with animals? Is Dr. Dolittle crazy? Well, the answer may surprise you. And having reviewed the previous clips, this is really not a stretch in thinking at all. Now, this is a fun extra video, not a serious teaching, and we aren't proving anything in this video, but exploring a possibility. However, wait till you see the support for this, because this will cause you to ponder, and if nothing else, this will be a nice conversation piece. Check this out, see what you think, and prove all things for yourself. When the prophet Balaam would not listen to the voice of Yahuwah, that's God's real Hebrew name. If you're not familiar with this channel, watch the Name of God series for full evidence. He used Balaam's donkey to get his attention. First, the donkey stopped, and Balaam proceeded to beat him. Then, the unthinkable happened. Yahuwah opened the donkey's mouth, and it said to Balaam, "What have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times? How about that?" Before one says, "That's impossible," the Creator can open and close even your mouth if he wishes. He did so with John the Baptist's father and others even. Really not unthinkable at all. Notice too, one thing about animals. This donkey in this passage actually saw an angel and understood him previously. Animals can even sense the spirit realm. And remember, in early Genesis 3, the serpent spoke to Eve, and she to the serpent. They conversed. Now, either the serpent was possessed by Satan, or the Hebrew nakash, which can also be a word describing an angel, in fact, not necessarily a snake, which Satan certainly was, or perhaps serpents spoke in the garden. Or perhaps, just a thought, animals spoke in the garden. Is that really unthinkable? Oh, check this out. Jubilees 3:27. And on that day on which Adam went forth from the garden, he offered as a sweet savor an offering, frankincense, galbanum, and stacks and spices in the morning with the rising of the sun from the day when he covered his shame. And on that day, the same day Adam and Eve were exiled, was closed the mouth of all beasts and of cattle and of birds and of whatever walks and of whatever moves, so that they could no longer speak. For they had all spoken, one with another, with one lip, and with one tongue. What tongue? Likely Hebrew. As Jubilees says, it is the language of creation, though we do not have support for that. That's an assumption. And he sent out of the Garden of Eden all flesh that was in the Garden of Eden. See, Adam's sin affected not just man, but animals as well. And all flesh was scattered according to its kinds, and according to its types, unto the places which had been created for them. See, Yahuwah already knew this was going to happen. Why do it anyway? Because he wanted man to have a free will regardless of the consequences. Some ask, how did all the animals get to their places on the earth after the flood? Actually, the precedent is right here, already established back in the Garden of Eden. Yahuwah made places for them, and they knew either instinctively or they were assisted in either event. Certainly angels could lead them to their places if they were a small animal that needed help. There are hundreds of thousands of angels, so no problem. So in answer to this question very directly, there is credible record from a book dated to at least 200 BC. Now granted, that was a copy, and it was not written by a Pharisee. That is nonsense. When you read that online and you're researching this book, then go and read it, and you'll find that there is no way a Pharisee wrote that book, because it condemns the practices of the Pharisees, especially their calendar. It calls their lunar calendar pagan. And it was viewed as Torah or law by the Qumran community, which it was found as the number 6 most abundant scroll. It was quoted as such in their writings. We test this in testing the Book of Jubilees in detail. Watch it. Not based on Pharisee writings filled with leaven, but actually finding doctrine in the New Testament from the writings of John, Peter, Paul, and Luke. And this doctrine does not derive directly from the Old Testament. We cannot find a direct source for those doctrines. However, we do find them in the Book of Jubilees only. Now, this book was written to early church fathers who use it just like Genesis in their writings and sermons. Continued in the West until the Catholic Church followed the Pharisees, called the rabbis today, censoring this book inappropriately and without such authority. They never had authority to change the Bible which the community of John the Baptist had preserved. He was the last great prophet, and he was the last person to preserve the Old Testament canon of Scripture. Check out our original canon series. The Ethiopian Church continued Jubilees as canon, Scripture, and inspired. It was found in Ethiopia by the West, and R.H. Charles in England translated from the Ethiopic to English in about 1903. 40 years later, we discovered the Qumran caves with Hebrew versions, especially of Jubilees, and in translation, very close to the English from the Ethiopic from 1903. Thus, this was preserved and canon all along. Any scholar speaking against this book without doing such research, but just spouting control lines from the Pharisees, looking up a website and saying, oh, well, see this, there it is, Wikipedia says. Anyone conducting a parallel reading of this book with Genesis and Exodus, which is the time frame in which it covers, will find it tracks very well. And actually, without this book, you will have a hard time truly understanding Genesis, as it affirms and confirms it. Which is why some strange doctrines have entered the church in recent times. So test this for yourself, we encourage you. Today we view animals in some cases as pets. However, in the Garden of Eden, it appears Adam actually had conversations with them. Imagine that. What would your dog or cat say if they could speak? Would they speak as Balaam's donkey and ask you why you did this or that? Maybe they would give you financial advice, perhaps? No, probably not. What they would do is glorify the Creator, because many animals seem to get something that our stiff necks just don't. There is a Creator of all things, and no other alternative has ever been put forth. You will never convince that dog that God is not God. Won't happen. One who cares so much for his creation that he actually wants to know you personally. He saved them from the flood, and he will save them again in the coming days, because the world is becoming more evil. Denying him is truly willing ignorance to justify one's own lusts or materialism, which is the doctrine that rules the world today and permeates much of the church even. 2 Peter 3 warns we would deny creation, the flood, and the deity or godhood of Yahushua the Messiah in the last days. And we are there, my friends. It is time we all draw closer to him in relationship. One who cares about whether someone is offended by our telling them the truth. Who cares? It's not about us, nor is it about their programmed sensitivities. The same with academia, whom some would watch this video and, how dare they say animals once spoke? Yet, not one of them can prove they did not, can they? They just stay in their box. No thank you, no more boxes for us. Well, just so you know, That portion of the Book of Jubilees that we just shared was written by an angel for Moses, accurately and credibly, recording the time before Moses. Some scholar just said, "Oh," as well. Well, that's what Paul said, affirming the Book of Jubilees. So blame Paul. And early Genesis as Moses could not have written that from experience, of course, as it was a time long before his, or at least not credibly so. But the angel who was literally there, yeah, they can. There are those occultists who attempt to say the Bible is plagiarized, and you'll see video after video out there on that on YouTube, and certainly many, many writings. Plagiarized from the Sumerian tablets or whatever. However, sorry guys, those tablets are plagiarizing the account that was already written in heaven from the first day of creation. Oops. Even the Book of Enoch precedes the Sumerian tablets, Gilgamesh, and any such writing, so that position is simply uneducated. And willingly so, because they are being willingly ignorant, just as Peter told us they would. It is time we prove all things for ourselves, and we will get to the truth. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the bell. Share this video with others. Friend us on Facebook at The God Culture _space original. And check out our website at thegodculture.com. Our email is thegodculture@gmail.com, and we are scheduling conferences now for 2020. We just need hosts, so step up and spread the word if you cannot. Keep your eyes out for an announcement on book details coming very soon. Thank you all for your prayers, comments, encouragement, and support in every way, especially those on Patreon who have been faithful. This has made a tremendous difference, and we have reached so many in the past year with this. We have some private events coming up as well that we cannot announce, but we are humbled and overwhelmed by all of the support. We love you all. Thank you. Salamat po. Yahuwah bless all.